Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your February 16th to the 28th, 2021 reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. I will not be offering you a reading, soliciting you for anything. So do not think that is me. It is a scammer. Okay, don't be scammed. Okay, with that said, now let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Capricorn, February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Ooh, and show me clearly. So this one. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. Now let's see your chakra energy for this time. Capricorn, February 16th to 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to 28th, 2021 Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. So we have listening with the throat chakra. Then we have visualization, the third eye chakra. And finally, we have inspiration, the sacral chakra. And we're going to see how all this correlates to the tarot in just a moment. But first, we're going to see what energy you need to be mindful of during this time. What is the energy that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021 Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, okay. Show me clearly. Guide this reading. Fantastic. I like how two just fell right out. Spirit's like, nope, listen to these. Okay. So we're going to start off here with the Lovers. This is Gemini energy. Time frame May 21st to June 20th. This isn't necessarily saying beware of Geminis, though it could very well manifest that way within your life. But this is going to be a person who speaks out of two sides of their mouth. And this is also going to be a person who's very interested in their pleasure, in what they want from life, in the way that they view things. And they're not really going to see that translate into anything else. It's going to be, these are my views, this is what I want, this is how it needs to be. And Capricorn, that's really it's going to irk you. It really is. It's going to be like, okay, come on. Let's look at two different sides of the story and let's look at things differently. And then it leads you here to the Chariot energy, which is Cancer energy, which is very interesting. Gemini time frame goes straight into Cancer time frame, which is June 21st to July 22nd. So it can be being very mindful of what you're building now will come into play during the Gemini to Cancer time period. So that is also something that Spirit is saying to be aware of. And here it's a person who is ruled by two aspects of themselves. Okay, so it's the duality, yes. It's the duality of the Gemini coming forward, that twin persona. All right, so here you have the dark horse and you have the light horse. So you have the day and the night, the conscious and the subconscious, the tamed and the untamed side of our personalities coming forward. And this is a person who wants both things and who doesn't know where they are and doesn't know where they are cognitively, but spiritually, personally, will contradict themselves. Will say this thing with gusto and a surety, and then all of a sudden change it. So here with the Chariot energy, just be very mindful of that. And they're just going to be plowing forward. If they step back and thought things through, it would be better, but they're not going to. It's like, no, I'm right. I know I'm right. That's where we're headed. And you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh, if you just step back, if they took in a little bit of the Capricorn practicality, it would be very good. And that's going to be one of the reasons why it bothers you so much. It's like, oh my gosh, could we, make a plan, make a list, kind of jot things down, have a game plan. But this is an energy where it's like, no, I'm going for it and I'm dragging you with me. And you're not cool with that. Then we have Freyelt, which is the Temperance card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is a person who's not connecting. Again, it's all about not connecting with higher energy, higher vibrational understanding. They want instant gratification. They want things right now, just as they are. Not just as they are, but just as they want them. And that's that. And that is going to be something where you can be very much swept up in it because they have a great sales pitch. They have a great way of sitting there and saying, I'm right, this is wrong. If you just do things the way I envision, everything will be awesome. And the unfortunate truth is, it's not going to be awesome. It's going to be a different train wreck, but it's still going to be a train wreck. Okay, the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we have the 9 of water. We start off with a blessing. The 5 of water, so the 9 of cups, the 5 of cups. You change your mind, you change your life. You have the magician coming forward, which I love. You're standing before the altar of your existence. You begin with a 9, you're crowned with a 9, and you're rooted with a 9. So the repeat of the number 9 brings you to this place of coming to a completion, coming to a place internally where emotionally and passionately things start to align. You start to see things differently, and you're heading in a direction that surprises you. It brings you then to the crowning of your heart, which is the 8 of Swords. For some reason, your heart feels trapped. You feel trapped emotionally. You have the 6 of Air. You are going to be moving forward. There is a triumph here. It is going to be a bit of choppy waters. The Page of Water, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, coming forward, very much being a student of your heart, of what you desire. The 7 of Fire is picking your battles wisely. You're crowned with the Empress, which I love. Right here, there's a sacred feminine energy to you. in the public arena. So people might not actually always understand where you're coming from, but it's a claiming of a hidden voice, a hidden power, a hidden truth, and that's going to be very big for you. The Eight of Wands is passion, it's fire, it's coming together, it's things moving quickly. The repeat of the number 8 is that you can really overthink things during this time. So you have the repeat of the number 9, you're coming close to a completion of a cycle, you're figuring things out, right? You're stepping on a new path. And then the repeat of the number 8 is just so logical, so practical that it can almost rob all the joy out of it. So be very, very mindful of that energy. You then have the Ace of Water, which is a gift that you are absolutely taking. The Ace of Cups, there's also a cleansing coming forward. This can make you much more sensitive, okay, when it comes to life. And then you have the Messenger of Fire, which is the Knight of Fire, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. There's passion, there's brilliance as you move forward. And there's a sense here of protecting what is sacredly intrinsic to you. What this means is that you're looking at the things that you are passionate about, you're looking at the things that you desire, you're looking at the way you need to move forward, and you're saying, but this is me. And so often our world looks at us, especially if we're highly sensitive, especially if we're more feeling oriented, and says, well, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. You're supposed to be more like this. You're supposed to be that warrior. You're supposed to be that person that can conquer. Now, yes, we are supposed to, not supposed to, but it is helpful to be able to kind of go with the punches, right? To laugh at the jokes, to not take everything so seriously. But it is also helpful to honor your soul, honor yourself, not say, oh, well, I'm just being too sensitive because you've been told that. And then at points when you're being taken advantage of, now you don't know where you stand. It's like, am I being too sensitive, or am I letting people walk all over me? What is right? And so that is something that you're going to be coming to a head with during this time. You're going to be looking at things and saying, but right, what is right for me? Where is my line? What is it that I desire? And that's where your chakra energy really comes forward. The throat chakra. Now, I always saw the throat chakra as talking. And yes, talking is very important. It's how we communicate. But listening is so important. And it's an art that we forgot. So here with the throat chakra, and you being told to listen, during this time, if you can focus on your breath, if you can focus on being present within yourself, because so often in our world, we live in the future. I used to love living in the future. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have this, and I'm going to do that, and everything's just going to be perfect, because it hadn't happened yet. So I could never be disappointed, right? Well, I was disappointed if I had set these arbitrary timeframes in my mind and didn't meet them. Living in the past, well, that could be sad. And it is sad, because the greatest moments of your past, they can never be relived. And even if you remember them and you want to kind of reenact it, it's always going to be lacking in something. And so here, our past is our pain, okay? Is living in a pain bubble, right? And our future is living in delusion. Isn't that what Tolle says? So Eckhart Tolle says, you don't want to do that. You want to live in the present. Living in the present is very hard because you're sitting there and it's like, okay, well, I'm here now. What the heck do? It's I listen. I listen to who it is that I am. I listen to my body, to my soul, to myself. And sometimes we just need the quiet. But so often we don't honor the quiet. We think, oh, I need to fill my life with noise, noise, noise. Practice breathing. And it sounds funny to say, just listen. When somebody is talking, focus on them, their eyes, I would say their mouth, but now that's a little bit hard. But if you're doing it over a conference call, yes, their mouth, their expression, but focus on your breath. Let all other thoughts fall away and just focus on breathing through your nose, because breathing through your nose makes you present. It also builds oxygen in you in a different way than breathing through your mouth does. So it's empowering. And so you become present, you become empowered, and you become hyper aware of the person that you're communicating with. You become not hyper aware, but yes, very intensely, aware of the person that you are dealing with, of the power that is around you. So here with listening puts you into your present, puts you into your body, puts you into your truth, but it also connects you in a way that people might find actually uncomfortable, because it brings your focus, kind of like laser focus forward. And that's something that our world lacks. We're listening to people, but we're also scrolling on our phones. We're also, doing 500,000 other silly things. Be present. And that's going to be something that challenges you during this time. If you take away one thing right now, it's like Spirit is saying, be present to who you are, to what you want, to what you desire. And then you start visualizing. Now, visualizing, I would always kind of confuse visualizing with living in the future, because we're visualizing for the future, right? But what we're doing when we visualize is that it's not that we're living for the future. It's that we're saying, I can do this. I can, have this life. I can move forward this way. And so the visualization is empowerment. It is emboldening. It is stepping into our truth. And it's changing the way we think. Our neurons kind of fire. And so when we visualize, what's really cool and also scary is that our mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. Excuse me. So here, when we're visualizing things, we're telling our mind, I can do this. Now, something to be aware of, because I used to do this to myself all the time. I'd visualize, but then I also had this way of saying, well, what if everything went wrong? What if I visualized that? And I saw myself still standing strong, right? Doesn't that mean that I, could overcome? Well, yes, it does. But it also means that your body is saying, well, I'm going to have to keep on fighting, aren't I? This is going to be a longer, harder journey than I thought it was going to be. So when we're visualizing, be very mindful of what we're visualizing, of how we're visualizing our success, our power, our ways forward. Because if we visualize the bad, we call the bad forward. If we visualize the good, we call the good forward. But also, as we're visualizing our path to what we desire and what we want, and we're saying to our minds, yes, you can do this. And it also helps, especially if you find yourself being really apprehensive. It's just sitting down, palms down on the table or resting on your lap, focusing on your breath through your nose, and just visualizing, opening up that door to success, to your dreams, to what it is that you desire, to a happy life. Like, what is it that you are aiming for at this time? Make them small goals, make them very doable goals, and then see yourself being able to conquer, being able to achieve, being able to walk through that door. And it opens you up in a way that you hadn't anticipated. And it leads you to inspiration. Inspiration is the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is where a lot of negativity from this life and past lives are held. So if we're going to be inspired within our sacral chakra, we're going to be inspired as we see the dawn come after hurt, pain, and disappointment. Because the sacral chakra holds our creative energy, but it also holds our sexual energy. It holds the way that we embrace ourselves, that we, look at our world, passionately create our existence. And if you're having all this baggage from, your DNA line, the scars that were passed down from, parent to parent to parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, so on and so forth, you are going to see that the pain that you hold, the pain that you were raised with, goes so much further back than just you. And so we're taking all that negativity, and we're also taking the negativity from past lives, and we're taking the negativity that we ourselves just accumulate, and our coping mechanisms that could have been escape mechanisms or coping mechanisms that we, built as a child and sat there and said, oh, this will keep me safe. But it has a child's logic to it, and yet it becomes embedded in our minds. It says, oh, that's truth. And it's not helping us. So the new dawn is sitting there and saying, I'm worth more. I'm worth more than the doubts and the fears. I'm worth more than the negative thoughts. I'm worth more than the snide comments and the scarring words. I'm worth more, and I'm rising. And I'm looking at the pain that I have, and I'm saying, yes, this is holding me back. Yes, these were chains around me, but now it is my time to step into the power that is me. And as you do this, you have wishes coming forward. It's going to be so much easier, there we go, that's the word, so much easier for you to see other people's blessings during this time than for you to see your own. And it's also going to be so much easier for other people to sit there and be like, wow, Capricorn, you really have things figured out. You're going to look at them and be like, what the heck are you talking about? But with the 9 of water, there's this understanding coming forward. There's this wish being granted. There's this power coming in. There's this beauty surrounding you. See it. It's within your inner self. It has to be a communication between you, your dreams, your desires, your hopes forward. There has to be that connection. That's sitting there and saying, wow, I really am better than I thought I was, right? I really am more powerful than I could have imagined. And it leads you to looking at the hurts, the pains, the disappointments that have held you back and saying, no, I'm not sitting here living in hurt. I'm not sitting here living in doubt and fear. I'm not sitting here thinking as soon as I can do everything perfect, I can be okay. Because I can't. What you're seeing, what you're doing, is you're looking at the mistakes and you're letting them go to the earth. You're letting them seep and be purified, be cleansed, and be understood. Okay, by the earth, not necessarily by you. And sit there and say, I know this has a reason. But think of it as putting down manure. I remember when I was in school, they would put manure out and then they would open up all the windows in the spring. And I hated the smell. I thought, oh, it's so gross. But the flowers would always be so pretty. And then my mom would do it at home and I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I hated it. And now I like the smell because I'm like, not like the smell, but I sit there and I think, oh, wow, the flowers are going to be coming, right? So here with the with the 5 of water, it's like, what was the manure? And where are the roses? Like, what flowers are coming? And why did they have to be fertilized? With all the nonsense that you have been through. And it's looking at the 2 cups that still stand. That's unity, that's love, that's acceptance, that's understanding. That's the Minor Arcana Lovers card. That's healing coming forward. That's what you're embracing. And it brings you to stand before the altar of your existence and say, this is who I am. This is what I want to be. This is what I desire for my life. I stand before the altar of my existence. I claim my power. And I always think of the magician as kind of the alchemist. And the alchemist, their goal was to transmutate lead into gold. And it sounds fanciful, doesn't it? That people like Isaac Newton would spend their lives thinking, I can change lead into gold. But what if they were saying, I can change my ordinary personage into something extraordinary, into something astoundingly valuable, not just for me, but for all of humanity. And we tend to think, oh, that has to be on a big scale, right? I have to be known by millions, adored by all, just absolutely amazing. It doesn't. It can be very small. It can be that your children think you're amazing. Your nieces, your nephews think that you are awesome. It can be that you give the best smiles, while you're out for a walk, while you're, passing by people. It's like you just have a way, a presence, a peace. Why don't we ever honor that? Why don't we honor the person that makes people feel good? Not in this, oh my gosh, I'm so special way, but in this, I see your humanity. I see the God's head within you. And you can see mine. Because you can see the joy within my soul, the light within my eyes, the beauty within my peace. And as we stand before the altar of our existence, as we sit there and claim, this is me, we see our knowledge, we see our prosperity, we see our emotional truth, we see our passion. And we think, how do I utilize this? How do I move forward in this? Where does this get me? What does this get me? And why is it important that I stand here now, claiming my power, knowing my truth? Because you're standing against the opposition. You're standing against the baser energy vibrations. You're standing against the people who are only concerned about what life can give them, what life owes them. And you're staying true to your dreams. Stars, when we look up at the stars, when our ancestors looked up at the stars, they saw the highest form of man's perfection. Have you ever gone out somewhere where there isn't all this light pollution and just looked up? Just looked up and saw beauty and saw the stars above. And there are so many stars that it takes the breath away. And it makes you feel really small. It's really humbling. The 9 of fire, the 9 of wands, is everybody's words, everybody's truths coming at you. What society says you should be, what the media tells you you need to buy in order to achieve, what everybody wants you to be. And then where you stand, who you are, what you desire, and what you need. And it brings you to this place of looking at the cage. Now, it might be a very beautiful gilded cage. It might be a cage of worry, doubt, and fear. Oh, I have to take care of everything. I can't focus on me right now. Everybody else needs me. Or work needs me. I barely have enough time at home to get the bare minimum done or to get things done correctly. And then I'm just exhausted. And I'm caged within this endless kind of like rinse and repeat cycle of life. And I don't get to have any brilliance. I see this, excuse me, I see this as a gilded cage. It might not even feel gilded, but it's what you have to do in order to have success. You have to be in this rat race. You have to see things a certain way. Well, what if you said no? What if you said, okay, well, that can be that person's truth, but it doesn't have to be mine? What if we looked at things and instead of saying, I want the fancy cars and I want the big house and I want all of this, what if you said, I'm really focusing on what's important to me? I'm making this distinction. And it might mean that I have to move. It might mean that I have to downsize. It might mean that I start looking at how to start a home garden and do all this stuff. But it means that I look at what I want. I see what my soul sings to me for. And I look at the cage of doubt and fear and negativity. And I see it. I understand it. But I'm not ruled by it anymore. That I can walk through the bars. It's kind of like that bird that's in the cage and the door is open, but the bird is so used to being in the cage they don't even realize that they can be free. And that's us. Divinity has the door open and Divinity's like, come on, fly through, go to where you need to be. Spread your wings. You can always come back. And then it's not a cage, then it's a safe space. It's so that you don't get eaten by a hawk while you're flying, or you don't get eaten by, by an owl while you're nesting. You have the safe space to go to. But you don't have the place of worry and fear and agita and doubt and chaos that is corroding you, that is eating you from the inside out. It brings you to this place of knowledge, to taking up your wisdom, taking up your understanding, and doing something extraordinary. Because a flying ship is extraordinary. It's super cool. You get to sail the skies. You get to take your knowledge, you get to take your understanding, and say there is a wonderment out here. There is glory and there is joy. So often we seek prosperity, fame, all these things, but we don't seek peace. And if we seek peace, we think everybody else has the answer, and we forget to look inward. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the ship is being steered by a person in the back. It always makes me think of a gondola, steerer or boatsman. And there's a woman and a child in the seats, and they're cuddled close together. It's like they're comforting each other. I always see that as the sacred feminine and not the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine and us as a child sitting with her, learning, understanding, heartbreak, disappointment, but keeping on moving forward. The person who's steering the ship, that's the sacred masculine. That's the action. That's the knowledge. That's the, problem solving. That's the looking at things and saying, okay, what are my talents? Where do I move forward from here? Like, how do I move forward from here? And our emotions take over, but our knowledge guides, our wisdom guides, because knowledge becomes wisdom. If we live it right, if we do it right, if we learn from our mistakes, knowledge becomes wisdom. And it leads us to being a student of our hearts. Because we're always going to be a student of our hearts. There's never going to be a time where it's like, oh, I know everything. And if there is, believe me, from personal experience, that is the time where you will know the least. The Page of Cups is the student of the heart, is the student of the emotions, is the student of the flow of being within us. It's the ocean that lies within us. And we can say that that is the water that fuels our body, that makes up so much of our body. We can live X amount of time without food, but you can live only a very short time without water. And so it's so important. And when we don't feed our souls, we starve in a different way. So here, with the Page of Water, it's becoming a student of what your heart desires, of the cages that you are trapped in, of the coping mechanisms that you created when you were very small and said, okay, this will keep me safe. And you might not even know that you did it. It's kind of like not being confrontational. That was so me. If I could just keep everything calm, everything quiet, everything good, if I could just take all the responsibility for anything bad and say, I could have fixed that, why didn't I fix that? Then I could keep everything good. Everything would be okay. That was a child's fantasy. That was a child's way of solving problems. Oh, I'll get in trouble for it instead of you. It didn't solve anything. It just put a lot of guilt in me and a lot of fear in me. So here, it's looking at the patterns that we have. It's looking at the way that we deal with fear. And it's having a conversation with our fear. I know that sounds odd to say it's time to sit down and talk to our fear. But it is. Because your fear it's a protective mechanism. You get afraid because you're going to fight or you're going to flight. Like, that's just it. So when you get afraid, it's like, okay, something bad is coming. And when we were not industrial people, that was very helpful. You had a bear come into the village. You wanted to be able to get away from the bear. To stay as calm, as still, as quiet as possible, so that bear went away. You wanted to be able to know how to fight it or know how to fight. But we don't have that happening very often anymore. Not in our Western world so much. And so here, when we have things that bring us fear, that bring us chaos, we don't exactly have the rule book of how to fight it, because it's usually emotional, or it's usually, it's usually passive aggressive. It isn't something where you can pick up your spear and say, all right, I'm going to fight it, or I'm going to run the heck away from it. So as you are a student of your heart, as you are a student of what it is that you desire, and as you talk to your fear, you start to see like, oh, why am I protecting myself from this? Why am I looking at this way? Why is it paralyzing me? Am I freezing? It's kind of like a rabbit. Am I freezing because I think, oh my gosh, then the hawk won't see me or the dog won't see me. And I don't realize that it's kind of making me a target also for that dog that's locked its gaze on me. So talking to our fear is a way of freeing us from that fear, is a way of having us begin to understand it. And it can also be able to grieve, us being able to grieve the processes within our lives that brought us to the place that the fear held us back, even though we wanted to move forward, even though we wanted something more from life. And it brings us to the Seven of Wands. It brings us to learning what battles to fight and what battles to sit there and say, I can't fight this, and I don't want to fight it. It's not worth my energy. So we see what's worth our energy and we see what isn't. We fight what we need to. But if we're fighting every single battle, if we're angry about everything all the time, first of all, it's exhausting. Secondly, people stop listening. It's like, oh, what now? What new thing are we supposed to be so terribly outraged about? And why is it that we can't be in harmony? We can't embrace peace. I'm tired of battles. But I will stand for what is intrinsically true to me. But everything else, you have to give your spirit time to rest, time to regroup, because you're going to see in the public arena, you're being called forward in a way that is really rather breathtaking. This is the sacred feminine. This is the beauty within. This is the quiet strength that so many women have. I'm not saying that men don't have it, but this is quiet, gentle strength. It is different, okay, than the strength that a man has. This is beautiful, steady truth. And this is a power that we've forgotten. This is the fact that when I think of my great-grandmother or I think of my great-great-aunt, I think of astoundingly strong women. But you would sit there and you would say, oh no, they weren't. I mean, you would look at my great-grandmother and say, oh, she had a arranged marriage. She couldn't do so many things. She wasn't strong. But she was made of iron. This is strength that doesn't have anything to do with muscles. Doesn't have anything to do with, a booming voice. It has to do with quiet, steady focus. And it's seeing the bigger picture. This is embracing power you didn't know you had. This is claiming a throne you didn't know was robbed from you. And this is sitting there and saying there is beautiful creative truth. There is beautiful creative power. I get to step into it. And it's not that power of force. You know, that's so funny. So what Spirit is showing me, it's like the power of an erection. You can see that so much more easily than you can see a woman's erection. So here, it is that power that brings forward a slow and steady beauty. And that's what you're embracing in the public arena, which I know that's a very odd way to word it, but it is the way I'm seeing it, and the way Spirit wants it to be expressed. So it's stepping into a power that brings you forward in a way that you hadn't thought of, in a way that you hadn't seen, in a way that we don't always sit there and say, that is strength, that is beauty, that is perfect. And so we move towards the strength, towards this throne, towards this understanding, towards this idea and ideal. And it starts to change things because we're moving in a different direction. We're moving in a more authentic direction. We're moving in a way that is intrinsically empowering. And it brings us to a healing. And this isn't going to be a time where you need a whole bunch of people around you, Capricorn. I mean, you stand before the altar of your existence. There's a power to you. There's a force to you. People are drawn to you in one way or another. And you might actually find that to be really annoying because they're going to want to sit there and kind of tell you what to do, tell you how to use your power, tell you how to embrace the purpose of you. And here, it's like you're washing things away. You're sitting there and you're decluttering your life. You're decluttering your soul. You're sitting there and saying, there's no room for this anymore. You're washing away. You're washing away years of dirt, years of neglect. And you're seeing yourself shining forward. You're seeing yourself being loved. You're seeing yourself being understood, being cherished, being honored. You're seeing yourself look at things and say, I'm not living in this fear anymore. This bubble of pain, this wound that keeps on being perpetuated. And there's a vulnerability that comes with this. And it's like, okay, I see that vulnerability. I live that vulnerability. So it can make the public arena a little bit difficult because you have such force to you. You have such power to you. And I'm going to link the perfect mind down below. It's a beautiful telling of this Gnostic text that I think is really quite stunning. And so here, as you're having this pain wash away, as you're having yourself stand into your truth, as you're looking at things so differently, it makes you sensitive. It makes you, question. It makes you, open up your eyes and say, what is it that I need to see? What is it that I have been blind to? And it makes you a warrior of your passion, of your determination, of what you desire, of the way you need to move forward, of the light that illuminates, and the fire that burns deeply inside of you. It opens up this door. It opens up your truth, and you're like, I'm charging towards this. And it doesn't mean that it has to be your job. It doesn't mean that it has to be, this huge calling that absolutely transforms your whole existence, and all of a sudden you're starting this company and everything like that. It means that you're looking at what you need within your life. And it's like, okay, I have my responsibilities. I honor and uphold my responsibilities. But I also honor and uphold me. And even if it's carving out 5 minutes a day to embrace love, to embrace your passion, to take time to pick up a pencil and draw, or to jot some words down on a piece of paper, or to, sit there and say, I'm going to make this space so beautiful that is my sanctuary. Whatever it is that calls to you. I always wanted to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. I'm going to try. I'm going to sign up for lessons. Whatever it is that tickles your fancy, that makes you, sit there and say, yeah, I can get excited about this. Yeah, I can do this. Do it. Even if it's something as simple as, I'm feeling sad and rather gray. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to get the fresh air. I'm going to bundle myself up if you're, somewhere nice and cold like I am, or I'm just going to take in the sun, and I'm going to walk, I'm going to move, I'm going to let my mind wander. And as I walk and move, I'm going to practice just breathing through my nose. Just breathing in this meditative, constant, present way, and see what I discover. Let's go deeper. Capricorn, February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Ooh. And show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. The Queen of Cups, I love it. The Three of Wands and the King of Cups, awesome. I was actually surprised that wasn't the King of Cups. I was like, oh, okay. But I love that. So you have a soulmate connection, a true love connection. Whenever I have the King and the Queen from the same from the same deck in a reading, it's a soulmate, true love, powerful connection moving you forward. Six of Swords, Seven of Wands, Three of Pentacles, Four of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, you are definitely a defender here, and Seven of Swords. So, the Queen of Cups, it says here kindness. The Queen of Cups honors and cherishes kindness, compassion, understanding. And it's also, I see the cups as very much being the rulers of one, being the rulers of the self. So the Queen of Cups rules with compassion to herself, to this is who I am, this is what I'm becoming, this is what I need, this is my voice, this is my passion, this is my power, this is my emotions, these are my emotions, this is my truth. So you look at you, and you know that you rule only one person. And it's ruling that person with love, honor, and respect. And it's as the blessings come, it's as you change your mind and change your life. It's like you're filling up your glass in a way that you never thought, or with a drink that you didn't think you'd be drinking. It's kind of like, when you indulge and you're sitting there and you're drinking and you're having a really good time and it's like, oh, this is awesome. But then let's say something happens and you decide, you know what, I'm not going to drink anymore. Your stomach could start hurting, or you just want to give it up for a little bit. And you decide not to. And you start drinking water, you start kind of drinking teas, taking care of yourself, everything like that. And taking care of yourself by what you put into your body. And then you decide, you know what, I'm going to have a drink. It was always so fun, I always loved it so much, I'm going to have a drink. And you take that sip of wine, and it doesn't taste as good. Or you take that sip of scotch, and you're like, ooh, no, this doesn't taste good either. But you loved it before. You're going to be surprised that, like, the pure glass of water tastes so sweet to you. That there's a drink that quenches in a way that you never experienced before. And it's the quenching of the soul. It's the power of the self. And it moves you to the Three of Wands. It moves you to a place of freedom, because it moves you to a place of inspiration and new horizons and opening of doors. And it's like, oh, this is it, isn't it? This is something new. And it's because you're standing before the altar of your existence. It's because you know the thoughts that you put into your head, the thoughts that you say to yourself, in the quiet, they matter. The way we talk to ourselves. Usually would never even, sometimes I would talk to myself in a way that I would never even talk to my dogs, because it's just mean. But I thought it was okay to talk to me like that. It's not. So you're standing before the altar of your existence. You're claiming your power. You're seeing your gifts. A new horizon starts to open. A new way of success, a new power, a new purpose. And it shows you that you rule just one person. And so rule that person with your shoulders, pushed back, your head held high, standing up straight, sitting up straight, and saying, this is my life. This is what I claim. I claim it in kindness, but I also claim it. You claim it in the sacred feminine, but you also claim it in the sacred masculine. You claim it in determination. You claim it in focus. You claim it in a plan, and you sit there and you say, this is me, and this is what I need to achieve. This is how I need to thrive. This is how I'm going to fly. And the arc of beauty comes forward, and it brings you to saying, yes, everybody has their opinions. But I remember when I was younger, my very first boss, I worked for him for quite some time. He told me, he was like, and I was so shocked because I always thought of him as like so kind of proper. And then he said to me one day, he's like, Dane, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they all spew shit. And I was so taken aback, so excuse my language, but I found it so funny. And it's here, that's exactly what you're seeing. It's like everybody stands in their life. Some people do it really well, some people don't. And everybody wants to impact you and sit there and push you one way or push you the other. But you have to stand in your truth. And you have to know that you're going to have to deal with the manure in order to get to where it is that you want to be, in order to have the garden, to have the success, to have the prosperity that you need. And it moves you here to the Six of Swords. This is boundaries. It's bringing, and you have it over the Eight of Swords and also, again, the Six of Swords. So it's boundaries, it's understanding, it's sitting there and it's saying, no, this is what I want. This is where I need to be. This is the knowledge, the information, the ideas that I'm gathering. It's how I move me forward. And it brings me to this place of standing up for my truth. This is defense. Yes, you're defending yourself. You have the Seven of Wands again, which you have rooting you right here. This is over you being a student of your heart. You are seeing what battles to fight and which ones to sit there and say, not worth my time. Not worth my time. It's kind of like when you're with a partner or when you have to work with somebody or when you have a best friend or you just like somebody and you want them to, kind of like you too. You don't fight with them with everything. I mean, we all know. We learned that at a very early age. You fight with somebody with everything. You correct them all the time. They're not going to like hanging out with you. And so here, it's like in life, if you're so busy kind of correcting everybody with the small things and being super annoying with that, it takes up all your energy. It takes up all your time. It takes away your focus. And you miss the bigger things. So here, with the Seven of Wands, it's like, I stand in my truth, I stand in my power, and I'm not fighting every battle. I'm not sitting there saying everything has to be exactly the way that I want it or perfect, or you have to understand exactly what I'm saying. If I understand me, that's enough. And then we move forward. It's like, I get it. I get me. And that's what you're doing here. You're saying, I get me. I rule me. Now I move forward. And the Three of Pentacles, it's like, I've built this. I've built this. I defend it. But, people are going to see what they want to see. Whether it's the truth of your intentions or not. You can't control anybody else. So understand that you built something beautiful. And understand that you need to move forward in that truth and in that beauty for you. It brings you to the Four of Cups. Divinity is handing you a gift in a very exquisite way that you're not prepared for. That you're going to sit there and might not even see it as a gift right now. It can take years down the road where you're like, oh, that was a changing point. Oh, that was a pivotal moment, but I didn't even know it then. So you take aim. Here, it's being prepared. It's sitting there, and it's all the steps before you get to take aim to your goals, before you get to hit the bullseye, before you get to see the magnificence. So a gift is coming. It can be so disguised that it actually brings added frustration to life. It's like, oh my gosh, seriously. But it opens up a door. So here, be very mindful of what's coming your way. Don't turn your back on things because they're not going to fit the exact narrative that you have. You are a defender, the Knight of Pentacles, patience. You are a defender of your prosperity as your heart is healed, as so much pain is suffering is looked at and washed clean, and and brought forward. And it brings you into your prosperity. It brings you into really knowing what you're protecting. Isn't there an old saying that says, better a warrior become a farmer than a farmer become a warrior? So it's kind of like, if you know how to fight, how to defend what it is that you want, but you live in peace, you live as a farmer, you live, as a person who grows and creates, it's better than if you don't know how to defend yourself. And then you go from being the person who only grows and creates to being the person who needs to defend. So it's kind of like, be the warrior within you. See that warrior. See the monster that you can become. See the fierceness within you and bring it forward. And so many times we're told, don't do that. That's also what happens when you're the king and the queen of yourself. You see the ferocity within you. You see the fierceness. And you say, I see the monster. I am not becoming the monster. And so here you look at your prosperity, you look at your success, you look at your bounty, and you say, I see the fierceness I have, the focus I have, the passion I have. I see what I can become, if I make simply accumulating my goals. But if I make being able to defend what I grow and being very mindful of where I give my energy and where I don't, then there's success. Then there's power. It leads you to the Seven of Swords. It leads you to gathering up your information, gathering up what you desire, leaving some things behind, and saying, this is me. And you don't need to share everything with everybody else. You just don't. So many times we sit there and we tell everybody our good news, and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. These are my dreams. This is what I want. And it takes us longer. A lot of times it takes us longer than we could ever have imagined. Or the road is so much harder than we thought it was going to be. It's kind of like, if I knew it was going to be this hard, I wouldn't have had this be my dream. What the heck? People like to point out how we failed. People like to point out where we stumbled, where we fell. So during this time, it's like, play your cards close to your chest. Don't let everybody see your hand. And build slowly and steadily this power, this beauty, this truth that is you. Leave some things behind, the weight of negative words, the angers, the disappointments of others. And know that that doesn't have to be your truth anymore. And it's time to defend your passion, to move forward in that brilliance. Not your subconscious, your spirit animal message. Let's see. Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. February 16th to the 28th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. So we have here the Panther Spirit. I love this one. It says, reclaim your power. It's time. It's time to reclaim your power. It's time to sit there and say, this is me, boldly, proudly, beautifully. I reclaim my power. And you can even find that to be a mantra. When you just sit and be in your breath and say, I reclaim my power, I reclaim my power, I reclaim my power. Say it in your mind. Let it reverberate through your body. Feel that power growing inside of you. It brings you to the rabbit spirit. Now is a lucky time. Why? Because it's your time. Because you're seeing things more clearly, or you're looking at things and saying, luck is around me. So instead of sitting there and being like, oh, it's just another dreary day, and kind of Eeyoring it, look at it and say, there's luck around me. There's beauty around me. There's joy around me. And finding it in the way the birds fly overhead, finding it in a child's laughter, finding it in, your favorite show, finding it on TV. Letting beautiful things guide you forward and letting it be your luck. It brings you then to the squirrel spirit. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, because that's the place to start. And yes, I do know that that's the author's theme song. But it's so important. If you believe in you, You can achieve miraculous things. If you don't believe in you, you can have miraculous talents and they will go wasted because you never saw them yourself. Be very mindful of the seeds that you are planting within you. Be very mindful of what you believe about you, because there are extraordinary things becoming part of your ordinary that you will let slip by because you just don't think you're worthy. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Your subconscious spirit animal message is the groundhog spirit. Time to let go. There is so much that we hold on to. So much pain, so much disappointment, so much anger, so much fear, so much shattered dreams. It's time to let it go. It weighs down our hearts. It becomes an anchor on our souls. Release it. Stand in your present, even if it's not the place that you dreamed it would be. And look slowly and steadily at the way you can put things in order to have them be what you desire. It brings you to your subconscious person message, which is the Queen of Wands. Fire and passion and determination, and not afraid to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. Very focused, very driven. That's what you are during this time. And hidden talents coming forward. Your subconscious chakra message is the inner child, the heart chakra. It's connecting with your inner child. Do the simple exercise of opening up your hands, opening up your arms, and seeing the child that you were run into your arms, being held safe by the adult you are now. So often we sit there and we despise the child that we were. The hurts, the pains that we had to go through. Oh, if you only knew what was going to be up the road for you, you wouldn't be so blissfully ignorant right now. No, it's looking at that inner child and it's saying, yeah, people said nasty things. Yes, there are scars, but I will always love you. And we're doing our very best. It might not always be good enough, but it's where we stand now. And it is divinely guided. I will always love you. I will always care for you. I will always hold you close. And that's a powerful thing for a child to know, even if it's simply you. For your inner child to know that when you look at the reflection of that child, you don't see a disappointment, but you see immensely great possibilities. And you see a person who is called at times to be stronger than you could ever imagine being. And you walk forward in that strength, in that beauty, and most importantly, in that love. It brings you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the Four of Air. It's stepping back and taking time to heal, honoring the long, hard road and how much you have endured and how powerful you are. And to go deeper, you have here the Six of Cups, the memories, the hurts, the pains, the disappointments, the dreams that were shattered, the people who you trusted who should have been there for you and just weren't. The pains, the angers, the fears, the memories that haunt, the memories that were beautiful and you just wish that they could come back. It's taking the memories and saying, thank you for giving me my wisdom, but I can't give you my life. All right, Capricorn, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as you move forward as a supreme ruler of the bounty set before you, of the seeds that you are passionately planting, and the power that is coming forward within your life. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling as soon as it feels, well, whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn.